This story is about an island that people believe to be no less than a real paradise. But what does a paradise cost? Is it more than valuable than your entire life, or can it be more valuable than someone else's life? The movie we're going to talk about asks these same questions. In the start of the movie, we see a man named Richard who has come to Thailand to spend his holidays. Richard believes that at holidays, people do the same things that they do while at their homes. They watch TV, play games and talk to each other. So, he wants to make this trip more adventurous. He wants to spend his time as a local, and not as a tourist. At his hotel, Richard takes shower and when he goes to open the door to his hotel room, the door doesn't open. Then, we see a French lady named Nancy. She helps Richard unlock his door. Richard seems to have been attracted by the looks of Nancy. But then, we along with Richard see that Nancy has a boyfriend. Her boyfriend's name is Etienne. At night, Richard is lying on his bed. Then the man next door to his room tears the window cloth and asks Richard for a cigarette. Richard angrily answers that he has nothing to smoke. Then that man tells him that he happens to have something that Richard might like. He hands him a cigarette and tells him about a beach. He tells Richard that there is a beach in a secret island that is so perfect and is a paradise that no one knows about. He tells Richard that no one could ever go there. But a few years back, some people went there and he was one of those people who went to that secret island. He was the only one who returned, but the others didn't leave and are still on that island. Richard doesn't believe him at all. He thinks the guy is a madman. And with how the guy looked and talked, no one would take him seriously, to be honest. Next day, Richard comes back to his room and finds a letter. And when he opens that letter, he finds a map to an island in Thailand. Richard quickly understands that this was left by the same guy who told him about the island last night. The map and that letter lead to the secret island. Richard goes to that man's room but finds his dead body instead. Richard is taken to the police station for questioning. But the police let him go after he signs a paper which was written in Thai. Richard doesn't understand what's written in that paper, but he signs it anyway to get out of there. Going back to the hotel, Richard takes the map to the French couple next door. He tells them about the secret island and wants them to join him in this adventure. Nancy and Etienne both agree to join Richard. They make all the arrangement for the trip. And after traveling for more than 24 hours, they reach a beach. From this beach, they have to take a boat in order to reach the island on the map. Richard goes to his room, but he has lost the keys to it. Richard is angry at himself, and the rain is also pouring hard. Richard finds two men who are living across of Richard's room. They invite Richard to drink with them and they start talking to each other. One of those men tells Richard about a secret island in Thailand. He tells Richard that the island is so beautiful that if he had a map to that place, he wouldn't tell anyone about it, to keep the place hidden from everyone. Richard understands that it is the same island where he is going to. Next morning, Richard draws a copy of that map. And before leaving that place, Richard leaves the copy of that map under the door of the two men he met last night. After taking the boat, Richard and his friends reach an island, but it's not the island which is the secret beach. They spend the night on that island. And next day, they decide that they'll swim to that island which is around a half a mile away. The three of them start swimming towards the island, and after a while, they finally reach the island with the secret beach. Upon reaching that island, they find that there is a huge field of wheat. They all start smiling after finding that huge supply of wheat which would be expensive to buy. After wandering for a while, Richard finds a monkey and when he looks down, he finds a man who is sleeping with a gun in his hands. The monkey alerts the man about Richard. And the man quickly gets up. Richard and his friends hide in the wheat field. More and more armed men come out. They're the ones who have been cultivating wheat in that place. They all start searching for Richard and his friends. They start crawling their way out of there, and soon they reach a dead end. They reach a huge waterfall and if they jump from it, they might end up killing themselves. They don't know what to do. Etienne starts blaming Richard, and they both get into an argument. But Nancy out of nowhere jumps from the waterfall. After seeing Nancy survive the jump, Richard and Etienne soon follow Nancy, and jump. They're all happy that they didn't die. Just then, a man starts clapping and tells them that it took him a long time before he made the jump himself. He takes them to a place, which they had built themselves to live forever. They were once tourists, but they had decided to spend the rest of their lives on that island. It's a very beautiful place, despite of the lack of technology and outside world connection. They don't have mobile phones, or TV. They don't go to work to earn money. They were just simply living there like a group of tribe people. Richard and his friends are taken to the leader of the community. Her name is Sal, and she asks them how they got the map to that island. Richard tells her about the mad guy who had left him the map. Sal then reveals that the name of that madman was Daffy. He was the one who discovered this island, but later got depressed and left it. She asks them if they have told anyone else about this island. They all answer that they have told no one about this island. But Richard is clearly lying as he had left a copy of that map to the other two guys. Sal, however, is satisfied with their answer, and then destroys the map, as they don't want anyone else from the outside world coming into the island. Next day, they go to the beach. The beach is surrounded by huge rocks. It has crystal clear water. Richard is in awe of this beach and cannot believe such a beautiful place exists in the world. Now, they have to learn to live the old way. They learn fishing with a spear and play different games to pass the time. They have all kind of freedom here. Whenever they need something, they take the weed that they have cultivated themselves, take it to the city, sell them and buy whatever they need. Sal also tells them that the locals around that island had come to them. But they let them live here in exchange that they wouldn't bring any more people. The locals didn't come to their place, and they weren't allowed to go to where the locals were. After spending a few days at the island, Richard starts liking Nancy. And one night, Nancy and Richard are taking a walk. Nancy tells Richard that she too has started liking him. Nancy and Richard kiss each other. Next day, Etienne confronts Richard and tells him that everyone knows what's going between him and Nancy. Etienne gets in an argument with Richard, and he breaks up with Nancy. After the breakup with Etienne, Nancy gets together with Richard. That day, it is raining hard and catching a fish on a rainy day is hard. No one wants to go in the water to catch fish, but Richard goes in alone. After a while, Richard comes out of the water and sees that everyone is waving at him. He doesn't understand the reason behind this. But soon, he finds out that a shark is coming towards him. Richard believes that this is the end for his life. But he quickly comes to his senses and tells himself that he cannot die here. He kills the shark with the knife that he had in his hands. Richard barely manages to save his life. That night, everyone starts complimenting Richard for his bravery. Richard has grown to be a popular figure in the island, and he is very happy with the attention he was getting. Few days later, the group leader informs everyone that the rice they had was contaminated by fungus. So, they have to make a trip to the city to bring in the necessary items for their survival in the island. Sal wants Richard to come with her. Now, everyone start handing out the list of necessary items they want Richard to bring back from the city. After reaching the city, Richard realizes that the island was a pure paradise compared to the life in city. The city was filled with loud noises, people fighting, just chaos everywhere. Richard wants to leave as soon as possible. It is also then that Richard realizes that no matter what, the island should be saved from the outside world. If everyone finds out about the island, it will also turn out like the chaotic city. At night, Richard and Sal are at a bar. Richard finds the two men to whom he had left a copy of the map to the island. The two men also have few other friends with them. They thank Richard for giving out the map to that place, and tell him that they too will come to the island very soon. Richard tells them that he was joking with him, and the map was fake. But they don't believe Richard at all. Sal finds out that Richard had told other people about the island. Sal then tells Richard that she will not tell anyone on the island about this secret. But Richard has to do one thing. He has to sleep with Sal. That night, Richard sleeps with Sal to keep his secret. And next day, they go back to the island, and everything is back to normal again. One day, while fishing, two of their men are bitten by a shark. One of them is seriously injured, and the other one even loses his life. The condition of the injured man is so bad that he cannot travel to the city to get treatment. And Sal doesn't allow to bring doctor into the island, as she wants to keep this island a secret from everyone. She fears bringing a doctor will result in more people finding out about the place. That man screams in pain for 2 days. Everyone can hear his scream, and they all are disheartened by the situation. They all decide that they will take the man in the jungle and leave him there. Etienne doesn't agree with this, but no one listens to him. Etienne decides to stay back with the injured man. After that, life is back to normal in the island, as if nothing had happened. They all start to enjoy life once again. Then one day, Richard is woken up by Sal. She takes him somewhere, and shows him that the people he had given the map to had reached the other island. They even have the map that Richard had drawn. Sal knew that Richard had told them about the island, but Richard hadn't told her anything about the map. Sal gets angry at him, and tells him to stay there. Sal wants Richard to stay there until his friends get to the island, and after that, Richard will have to take the map from them, and tell them to return back. Richard stays there that night. And Nancy comes to him and slaps him. Sal had told everyone about the map. Sal had also told everyone that she and Richard had slept together while they were in the city. Nancy is mad at Richard and she breaks up with him. Richard is now stuck there. He cannot go back to his people, and he has to stay there waiting for the people to come from the other island, so that he can take the map from them and tell them to return back. Richard has nothing to eat. He sees that the people are still in that island and aren't coming towards him. He starts eating bugs to satisfy his hunger. Slowly, Richard starts hallucinating. He starts seeing things that are out of his reality. He is slowly getting mad. One day, Richard sees that his friends are planning to move to this island. They reach the secret island and find the weeds. They are all happy, just like how Richard, Nancy and Etienne were when they first arrived here. But the guards soon find them and they are all killed by the guards. Richard sees all of this, and before he could leave, one of the guards sees Richard and starts running towards him. But Richard gets lucky as the guard's leg is caught in a trap. Richard jumps from the waterfall and goes back to his people. He sees that everyone is dancing and having a fun night. He doesn't go back to them, but instead, he goes to where Etienne and Nancy are. Etienne is still taking care of that injured man, who is pretty soon going to die. Richard tells them that they have to leave this place as soon as possible. He tells him about the people who were killed by the guards. Nancy and Etienne leave from there. Richard sees that the injured man isn't going to live for more, so he closes his mouth to kill him. Richard doesn't want to do it, but he still does it because he knows that he isn't going to live for long with his injury. Before Richard could leave, he gets attacked from the behind. When he wakes up, he finds out that the leader of the guards had taken everyone under his control. He tells Sal that he had warned them to not bring anyone from the outside world. He also shows her the map that Richard had drawn. The guard leader now wants everyone to leave that place. But Sal refuses to leave the island, and tells him that the island belongs to them as well. Richard tries to tell everyone that they should leave the island, but Sal blames Richard for making the copy of the map, and giving it to his friends. After finding out that Richard had drawn the map, the guard leader hands Sal a gun which has only one bullet inside. He tells Sal that if she kills Richard, he will let them live on the island. Richard tells Sal not to kill him, but Sal is adamant on staying on the island. So, she pulls the trigger, but fortunately, it is an empty chamber with no bullet, and Richard gets to live. Now everyone starts to distrust Sal. They believe that she will do anything to stay on that island. So, everyone leaves the island, return back to their normal life. It has been 1 year since then. Richard is back to his normal dull life. But the freedom he felt on that island has still not left him. He still remembers the life he had on that island. It was where he truly was living his best life. Then, Richard gets a mail from Nancy. Richard opens it and finds that Nancy had sent him a picture of when they were on the island. Looking at the picture, Richard can't help but smile, and with him smiling at the picture, the movie ends. So, would you guys stay on that island and leave everything in your life behind? I, personally, wouldn't. Internet totally controls me. So, I wouldn't go to that island unless it has internet and no guards with guns. But please tell me if you would risk your life to live on that island. That's it for this video. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.